for today's Cyber CEO episode.
He is fantastic. Gary is way smarter than what we have him working on right now. And that's because my email inboxes are a complete disaster. It's phenomenal. We are looking actually at promoting him just a few months. It's just been a few short months and he's turned my world around in that period of time. Like I wish that we would have had Gary years ago because all of this wouldn't have snowballed quickly. Yeah, just a few short months, we already want to promote him. So
welcome to Cyber CEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Cyber CEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. We're back with another episode of Cyber CEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show. Cynthia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys.
Yes, we're very excited to have you. And again, we know you have a lot of things to do, so we appreciate you dropping by. Now, to start things off, to let you know, we have a lot of listeners who are business owners just like yourself. So I need your help. Can you introduce yourself to our audience? Maybe we can start with, what's your role in the business, Cynthia?
Of course. Well, I thought I'd make it easy and actually wear the t-shirt with the name on it. So my name is Cynthia Lee, and I'm the executive leader of strategy and growth for 𝗙𝗃 Commercial. So I oversee all of 𝗙𝗃 Commercial within Keller Williams. It's a community within Keller Williams.
Gosh, I'm curious to know, how long have you been in the world of real estate?
So in in the world of real estate, 14 years, 13 years. In commercial real estate, about 10 years, a little over a decade.
Gosh, a lot of experience for you right there, just in real estate itself. But how about virtual leverage? Is this your first time working with someone virtual?
So it is not. And I did not have good experiences with the other companies that I had, tried, getting some leverage from. But I will say it wasn't necessarily their fault. A lot of it was actually my fault because I just don't have the time to train. And there was a lot that was put on my shoulders in terms of having to figure out the training. And so it didn't work out, but also those companies didn't really have people who are more commercial focused. Mm-hmm. And so then when I heard about Cyberbackers and that you guys had commercial people that understood that world, that's when I went, that's what I need. And so that's why I came to Cyberbacker.
How did you find out about Cyberbacker in the first place?
Through a good colleague of mine named 𝗙𝗃𝗹𝗹𝗶, and then also through a recruitment agency that we now use as well. So we're all now using each other because we're like, wait a minute, we all have like great people. Let's all work together.
There we go. I think that's how it works in any kind of business. Again, partnering with people that can help your business grow, right?
Yes, absolutely. And so that's why any good words I can give out for cyberbackers, especially when it comes to commercial real estate, I'm happy to do that just because, again, I have tried other groups, and for commercial, it's just such a different animal than residential. And we thought that we could take a residential VA and train them in commercial, but it didn't really work out that way. You have to have somebody who understands it before they ever even get to you.
Yes, true. 100% agree with you there. Now, I would like to know though, because you do have experience working with someone who's virtual. So how was it changed though? Because I know for a fact before the pandemic, everything was like in person, meeting people. Now everything's going a bit more online. So how was the transition for you specifically and your business?
That's a great question, because I have to tell you that was one of my pitfalls with my first experience with VAs years ago. Okay, was that I said, well, because I'm not great at training, like actually sitting and training people, like every little detail, I don't have the patience for that. Mm-hmm. I just said, well, it's going to be easier to have somebody in person, and that still didn't work, because I still realized I'm not that great of a trainer, right? And then COVID hit, so for me, I had to really make an adjustment and just let go. I had to really just let go and say, I can do this. But I really think, though, that it's aligning yourself with the right company. Virtual assistants, that really for me made the biggest difference, was getting aligned with the company that had the right type of people that I was looking for, at least the level. I need a really high level executive assistant, a good virtual assistant, just because we run a very high level business. I specialize in retailing and franchising. So we place tenants all over the country. And then on the top of that, that's my brokerage side. And then on top of that, I'm running the whole commercial division for Keller Williams. So my email inboxes are just a monster. They're a nightmare. And then the work just was piling up. So the transition, it was more on my end of having to say, I'm just going to have to do this and figure it out. But it actually turned out to be a lot better than I thought that it would. And again, it just goes back to having a person who already has a business mindset.
Yeah, who's already ready to help you out right away or day one, right? Now, talking about people that you work with, you're now working with a Cyberbacker. Before you even got partnered with Gary, your Cyberbacker, you went through our hiring process. So how did that experience go right there?
Well, it was easy. So these days, because I'm wearing so many hats, I kind of hit the easy button and I hired a third-party agency, a hiring agency, a recruitment agency to help me with that process. Because Cyberbackers does have a really great process in vetting the right VA for your needs. And so I got with this third-party vendor so they could understand my needs, right? And then they collaborated with Cyberbacker. So normally you would be like, normally I would have done that myself. I just didn't have time to do it. And it's not that laborious of a process. It's just that, like, for me, every second counts. Right now. So they got to know me and they understood what I needed. And then they went and they collaborated with Cyberbackers. They did the interview process and then they sent me 3 candidates. They narrowed it down to 3 candidates. And then I watched those interviews that they did with that candidate. So I didn't even have to do an interview, right away. And then I ended up meeting Gary after that. Cause I said, yes, he seems like the right fit.
There we go. So just easy finding that perfect Cyberbacker. Now, more about Gary. What are the tasks that you leverage off to him? Let him do every day for you in the business.
I love Gary. I'm always saying, can we clone him? He's amazing, which we are trying to actually now hire a second Cyberbacker. He is fantastic. Let me first just say this about Gary, is that Gary is way smarter than what we have him working on right now. And that's because my email inboxes are a complete disaster. I have 2 different emails that I have to juggle for Keller Williams. One's for my leadership role and then one's for my brokerage side. And so right now he manages it. Before Gary, I had easily over 1,000 emails, right? Wow. He now has cleaned up my whole inbox. He's made categories. He sorts them. He reads them. He responds. He has templated responses. So he'll read them. And then if he thinks it's something really important that has to happen today, he'll text me. So that's the protocol we set up, because otherwise I will not answer my phone and I will not look at emails. And so his goal is to whittle down my email inbox daily. So I know what's critical to look at. That way it's a lot more digestible for me, because for me, it piled up so much that I would just get to the end of the week and I'd say, oh, I can't even look at that. Like, it would stress me out looking at how much I had to deal with. So he's gone in and cleaned it up. He's put systems in place and he's checked with me every step of the way. He said, hey, what do you think? Here's what I would suggest how we handle this. Like, he knew right away how to use Gmail. We didn't have to teach him any of that. Like, he already knew all those systems, and that was really nice. And I like that he makes suggestions. Yeah. We appreciate that he makes suggestions, because a lot of times I don't know, or I don't really have the time to think about it. So it's phenomenal. And I know that he probably doesn't want to sit on email all day. So we are looking actually at promoting him. Wow. And so that's where I'm like, okay, well, we have to find another Gary, because he's amazing. And he's, what am I going to do without him? So we're moving him up in the ranks. Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting for him, because once you move him up, more things for him to do, more opportunities to grow, right?
Yes, he proved himself right out the gate. And the communication's fantastic. He sends daily reports, so I know exactly what he worked on. He'll email me questions. So it's all based on what your needs are and the way that you communicate the best. And then what I did as well is I have a team member in my group that actually works in the office. She's my manager. And so she's copied on everything. that's important that he sends just in case I miss it. So we have that second backup person in the event. So it's just, you got to just figure out what works for you and get that little system set up. And it was not painful at all. It was not a painful process.
Now, I think your suggestion earlier, the communication, I think that's really key in any kind of a partnership, may it be in person, in the office, or someone who's virtual, because open lines of communication really have to be there for a partnership or any kind of partnership to work out. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. And so the communication has been great. He even wrote us a beautiful letter with, sent a picture of his family. So we consider Gary, even though he is not located in the US, he's overseas, he's still part of our team and he's on everything. He just physically isn't there. And Cyberbacker is what I like and appreciate about them versus some of the other companies that we've used, is that they really make the effort to bring that virtual assistant in as that team member. Cyberbacker sends a lot of follow-up surveys. They're always wanting to know, what is the feedback? Is everything okay? Are you good? Do you have any issues, etc.? They send letters. I mean, it's great communication. And that right there, that gives me the assurance that I know if there is an issue, then we have that support right there waiting for us. It's not like you put a request in and a week later you hear from the company.
That's true. That's true. Again, that's what we make sure of. Again, the communication is always open, not just between you and your Cyberbacker, but of course between us and yourself as well. Now, how long have you been working with Gary? I forgot to ask earlier.
Oh, just a few months. It's just been a few short months, and he's turned my world around in that short a period of time. Like, I wish that we would have had Gary years ago. Because all of this wouldn't have snowballed as quickly. Yeah, just a few short months, we already want to promote him. So
that's just a testament to the partnership that you've created with him. And now, I'm curious though. We talked about the things that he does for you, but of course, I would like to know, how has he impacted your business though? Not just by doing those things. What else has he done for you and your business?
So what he does truly is he's a communicator for me. And in my role, especially as a leader, it's super important that I respond in a timely manner to anybody who reaches out with some sort of a question or an issue on the national level. So knowing that I have somebody there as my voice, just even if it's just, hey, Cynthia's out of town, or hi, and he tells everyone who he is. I'm Gary. I'm here to help you. How can I assist? Then he knows at least what direction that goes in. So, because before I would just let everything pile up, and sometimes there would be leads that would come in that we would miss. So there was business that I was missing. There were members who were upset about something or had an issue that didn't get answered. And then that led them to saying, well, maybe I should just quit KW Commercial, and that's bad, right? If we lose membership. So I would say that's really, even though, yes, if you just look at the immediate, what's taking place right now, yes, does he organize my life? He does. But really the bigger picture is that he's saving me business. He's helping get me business by responding so quickly. And he's helping just with that attrition and that retention within the leadership aspect of it and the membership.
So he organizes and makes sure that nothing falls through the cracks then in your business.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Follow up.
Now, it seems like I can feel that the few months that you've worked with Gary, it doesn't seem like a few months. It seems like you're very close to him, have a strong bond with him. And I know every kind of any partnership would start somewhere. Now, I know for a fact that some of our listeners might have a difficult time working with someone who's virtual. So my next question is, what are some tips that you can give our audience when it comes to working with someone who's virtual?
That's a great question, because again, I'm somebody who struggled with it. I went through 2 different VA companies in the past and had the same struggles. And then I realized, I think a lot of it was also me. So I would say the tip would be that you really have to figure out what is it that you need. So you have to look at it and say, what's that 80% that I don't need to be working on, so I can focus on the 20% that's actually going to generate revenue. And so I had to sit and say, what's my 80%? And also, what causes me the most stress in the day? And for me, the most stress is the fact that I'm usually on Zoom calls or on the phone or in a meeting or presenting, where I can't always get in front of the computer and see everything that's coming in. And so that, and then by the end of the day, I'd go, oh my gosh, I still didn't get to all of this. people are going to be upset, or I missed this deadline or whatever it may be. And so he took that 80% off of me. That was a big piece of it. And the other, I was remiss in saying that what he also does, he handles all my calendar. He does my Zoom calls. He does all my scheduling for me. Do you know that I used to do a lot of it myself? Wow. And it would take so much time I'm like, oh, what's my passcode for Zoom? I got to log in. I got to figure it, or just the back and forth. How many times it has saved me so much time. All the back and forth of just trying to get something scheduled with someone, and it's like 8 emails. It's an email thread of 8 emails just for one answer, right? Well, he now has taken that out of my life. The other thing that he does too is that, because my job is recruitment for Cynthia Commercial, he tracks all of the people that I'm in communication with. So he created a beautiful spreadsheet. He tracks all of it for me. So then that way we know who we have to follow up with. So we have templates now for a lot of that. So he's getting into that rhythm of who he needs to follow up with and schedule calls with. So he's doing a lot more than just the email, but the root of it is managing that beast and then plugging it in the right places. That way I know who to follow up with. And I also can track conversion. How many recruits have I talked to that I actually ended up converting? So he's in communication with team leaders and, operating partners all over the country.
So basically he saves you a ton of time so you can focus on the things that matter the most and growing the business, right?
Yep, yes. That's exactly right.
Now, one last question. And I know for sure Gary's going to be able to watch this once we have this online. So we would like to know, what do you like most about Gary? What's the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about your Cyberbacker?
Oh my gosh, there's so many great things that come to mind when you ask that question. So I got to think of the one, I would say first and foremost, what impressed myself and my whole team the most about him is his level of experience. Gary managed a huge team of people in the Philippines. He's high level guy. Okay. And so he gets it. He understands business and he understands people. He understands that whole human connection. He understands being a leader and what a leadership role is like and what a leader needs to do. So for him to be able to, he already has that experience of basically being me, right? Yeah. So it gave me comfort knowing that he could read an email, or he also listens to my voicemails, and he can identify what is a priority. And that was important to me. I needed somebody to be able to look at everything and say, this is critical. You can deal with this later, or you don't even have to deal with this. Just read it. And so that's how he sorts it. And only a very skilled person can really get that right.
True, every time. Now, I know it's only been a few months, but we are very, very excited to see where this partnership leads to for the next couple of years. And again, Cynthia, I know you're very busy. Thank you very much for dropping by. I hope we can do this again soon.
Sounds good, 𝗙𝗪𝗪. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
You appreciate you in your business, Cynthia. Take care. Thank you for listening to our daily dose of Cyber CEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.